Garrett's backseat navigator now.
Yeah, right.
Do you know where you're going? I have no friggin' clue. I put everything on Waze. I just tell it to go, and I just follow the British dude.
Google Maps, man.
Yeah, I am a Google Maps over Waze because Waze will give you.
Yep,
Looks like we can make it. That guy's.
I think Garrett figured it out too.
Perfect. Waze will show you one way to go, and then tell you at the next left, make a U-turn.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie.
All right, before we start this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie, if you are new here, please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the notification bell, because that's good for all stuff YouTube. I do want to say that I do try to pay attention to the analytics on the YouTube, and it does seem like there are more people that are watching the show than are subscribing to the show. So if you subscribe to the show, I would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, if you are watching the show, you need to share it with your friends, because that is how we get the stagecoach across America. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today we are in the home state in North Attleboro, Massachusetts.
Yep.
It's different than Attleboro because it's north.
It's north.
It's north.
Right.
And I have with me Garet Holcomb and Jeff Strider from the Goal Podcast.
Goal Podcast.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Good to see you.
Thank you. It's great to be in the stagecoach, man. This is awesome.
It's great to have the hometown guys in here. It's great
awesome
that I don't have to drive that far. Right.
We're not in Arizona or something.
We're not in Arizona. I fly to Arizona. I have driven to Sioux Falls.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a hike.
It was a schlep.
I think especially through Pennsylvania. I think it takes 4 days to drive through Pennsylvania.
It only feels like 4 days. Yeah, I used to think driving through upstate New York was bad, and then I drove through Pennsylvania. I'm like, holy crap.
You're like, didn't I pass that tree like 3 hours ago?
Right. I know. Didn't we go by Batavia before? And then you know what I did? I drove down to Virginia, from the north part of Virginia down to East Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, this is longer than Pennsylvania.
Oh, God. Tennessee's a long drive too, yeah.
Man.
Wow.
Forget how small the New England states
Tip to tip.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Tip to tip.
Oh my gosh. All right, so let's talk about you guys. You guys have been, you guys do the Goal Podcast.
Yep.
Which is the Gun Owners Action League, which is our state's pro-gun group here in the Commonwealth. And
The
Commonwealth, right?
I'm
the
not from
QUA.
here, so my accent is, my wife calls me out on my fake accent all the time.
Right. I'm not from here either, but I've got my longtime friends that forgot that I grew up in the Midwest, and I had one of my friends say one time, she's like, "Oh my God, I forgot you were from here." Thanks.
Yeah.
We've been friends for 40 years.
40 years.
Yeah.
Right on.
Oh my God. Anyway, you guys have the Goal Podcast. You guys are both Goal board members, aren't you?
That is correct. Yeah. Yep. Both on the Goal board.
Now, when your term with the Goal board is up, are they going to have 2 new podcasters?
No. So we decided early on that, our doing the podcast was going to be completely separate, have nothing to do with our position on the Goal boards, right?
Gotcha.
So as far as I'm concerned, podcast goes on forever, even if and when we're no longer on the board.
Right. Gotcha. Well, that's good to know. All right. So how did you become a gun guy, Garet?
Me? Yeah. Let's see. So I was born and raised in California.
Whoa.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That says a lot, doesn't it? So my first experience pulling the trigger was probably when I was 13. It wasn't in California. It was at my uncle's farm in South Carolina, near Hartsville, South Carolina.
Oh, that's cool.
So he had a farm down there. I spent about a half a year down there when I was, young, and with a after a shockingly short amount of time in training, I was allowed to take his Remington 12 gauge out and do varmint hunting around the farm. So
Nice.
So it was, rabbits, things like that.
Very cool.
So that was my first experience with trigger time.
Yeah.
That, and then that was also my first experience deer hunting. Was at that age as well. Then moved back to California. Throughout high school, I had older friends that had guns, so this was back in the 80s when you could still go out into the mountains and shoot up old washing machines and things like that.
God.
You just can't really do that so much anymore. But
I think it's an attack washing machine.
I think so.
Right.
Yep. And then it was, military. After the military, spent a lot of time at the ranges out in California. They still existed at the time. And then I moved out here. Fast forward a bunch of years, get my license out here. So I've always been, like, my entire life, I've been pro 2A.
Yeah.
And like vocally pro 2A. But after what happened in 2016, when Maura Healey did the
Right.
the whole thing.
Anything
So
that looks like an AR is an AR.
right.
Yeah.
So after that happened, I mean, that was like, so I'm not like a Democrat or Republican. I'm very much libertarian at heart. That's how I identify. So when she did that thing, it was like, that to me was one of the most brazenly, like, cynical and just disgusting things that I've ever seen, like, a politician play out in real time.
Yeah.
And it hit on more than one level. It hit on, obviously, stomping on gun rights, but it was also, for an elected politician who has the power to arrest you, to say that you're a felon and I'm allowing you to stay out of prison out of the goodness of my own heart.
Yeah.
That's going beyond stomping on your rights. That's like totalitarianism.
Yeah.
So that at that point I was like, okay, this is bullshit. So then it was time to really get involved. So jumped in and goal. At that time, my first rally with goal was the rolling rally in 2016, in July of 2016, and then I became the vice president of the club, Mansfield Fishing Game. That's where I met Jeff.
Nice.
And then 2020 came around. I discovered that there was a position on the goal board through Jeff. We become friends in the meantime, and then took it from there. And then decided to make a run at the goal board seat. It's been just an amazingly, like, a monolithically positive experience. You can take a left at the right, or a left at the light.
A left at the right.
Yeah, take a left at the light. It's everybody that I work with at Goal, on the board, everybody at the club. It's like, just this community here in Massachusetts has been amazingly positive experience, and everybody's just fantastic.
That is beyond true. Everyone that I've dealt with, anyone I've dealt with everywhere has been great. People let you stay at their house. People help you out.
Yeah. It's almost like law-abiding gun people aren't such bad people after all, right?
Shocking! Shocking. We really are not what these anti-gun wackos think that we are. We really aren't.
Right.
We are not. And this is what I want. This is what I want my show to show people, right? Like, we're just regular folks, man.
Telling stories. We're we're people too.
Gun owners are people too.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. So, did you become an instructor?
I did. Yep. I got my instructor ticket in 2018. I've done work pretty consistently since then. I've got several hundred students under my belt, so to speak. I do a lot of work with Bill Dalpy down at Patriot Firearms School.
Yeah.
Yep, fantastic guy. I love the school. Love teaching there. Jeff works with me on a bunch of classes, so I think we work pretty well together. So it's it's been a great experience.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we have a little bit of practice.
Yeah. Right.
I love it when you can go someplace and you're like with your people.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love this. I've done this with a lot of friends where you start telling a story and then you just hand it off to one of your friends and they pick it right up.
There's a lot of that in the class. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's like I know when to look over and Jeff's got a story, and stuff like that. It works out well, and most importantly, it's a positive experience for the students. The students, they come away obviously with their licenses and good experiences, but they have to, they're able to have some laughs too while they're in the class, which is a great thing.
It is. You got to keep people awake.
That's why we do mass law in the beginning.
Oh.
You do that in the morning.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's the opening chapter.
Yeah.
You got to get them full coffeeed up. And,
Right. While there's still
engaged
coffee in
and
the
excited.
mug,
While there's
then
still-
we talk about Massachusetts gun law.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's nuts. Whatever. I had one lady was falling asleep. I used to teach at Mass Firearms School, and I had one lady that fell asleep. Like, she came in, head on the wall, and I'm like, do I have to give her a certificate? Because I don't really.
It's like
She was at the class, and I knew she paid.
She didn't
but-
really experience the class.
Right, and I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to be entertaining. I'm trying to keep her awake. Like, so I tell people my goal is to keep people awake.
It's like, if you don't stay awake, I'm gonna have to start throwing like chalky racers at you.
Right,
You know,
just like the old
make you do
teachers
jumping
used to do.
jacks and stuff like that. So it's
Oh,
like,
my
you really gotta
goodness.
absorb this stuff.
Gotcha.
Now we keep it engaging, and you know, I haven't had anybody fall asleep yet, so I guess it's
That's a
It's
good
good.
thing. You're one up on me.
that's a good thing.
That is cool. Jeff, how about you, man? When did you become a gun? You guys are doing everything, like the hunting and shooting. And when I listen to the podcast, you got John Green on, and he's talking about the first time he shot a turkey and everything.
Oh,
Yeah,
man, I wish
I guess
I'd
that
been there
became
for
like
that.
a popular story with him, I guess.
Yeah.
He loves that story, and I love hearing it. I wish I'd been there that day.
I mean, I played paintball with buddies and stuff growing up, but
Yeah.
didn't really get into shooting until I was in my early 20s. And I just happened to live with a guy who was a police dispatcher, and just the conversation came up, and he's like, all you need to do is just take this licensing class,
Mhm.
and you can apply for your license. So, by myself, just went to American Firearms School in Attleboro and signed up and took the class, and I was one of the people in the back falling asleep during the class.
Oh man.
Thankfully, the guy teaching it was like every 45 minutes or so, you would take a 5-minute smoke break. So
Oh,
Gotcha.
there
get
you
up and
go.
walk around. But, yeah, just fell in love with it.
Mm.
I mean, there's all the practical reasons, but I always liked, how things worked and understanding the mechanics of it,
Mhm.
and also the science and math that gets involved of calculating ballistics and trajectories.
Oh,
Right.
nerding out's great.
Yeah, the geek stuff. And then the more I got into shooting, and you see the rhetoric around it or the politics around it, it just started rubbing me the wrong way of like, hey, well, I know that's not true, and I know that's not true, and I know
Right.
what this is. So after, just being a recreational shooter for a few years, I looked at becoming an instructor. I wanted to, do the NRA licensing course stuff. The problem for me is I hate doing paperwork, and I have to do a lot of it for my regular job.
Yeah.
So, now I just parachute into people's classes as a volunteer. So I get to volunteer, have all the fun,
Right.
none of the responsibility.
None of the paperwork. That's awesome. If you got to do it, that's the way to do
Yeah,
it.
I happened to totally luck into meeting Mandy and Paul.
Oh yeah, the Devinos.
Devinos, yep.
Yep. Randomly got introduced to them, went to them to the Mansfield range once. Loved the club, so I ended up joining the club. And Mandy was the one who told me to join the Gold Line. She said, no, you should just come to one of our meetings.
Right. For it's like a drug addict. The
Yeah,
first
right.
one's for free.
Yeah, so you should just come. And I mean, I'd gone to the 2016 rally.
You know you want to.
Right.
Yeah, just show up, see what it's about, see if it's something you'd be interested in. Oh, by the way, fill out this little bit of paperwork before you go.
Right.
So yeah, I showed up for the meeting, and they asked everybody who wasn't a board member to step out of the room, and 5 minutes later we got brought back in, and they said, congratulations, you're the secretary for the next 3 years.
What?
So,
Okay.
yeah, it's just, but
Guess I better learn how to type.
like Garet said, everyone you meet is they're awesome people, they're fun to be around, it's amazing activity to get involved in, so
Yeah.
I said, sure, why not? It's once a month meeting, and I'll take some notes and see what it's about. And it was scary for me because I didn't grow up with firearms.
Mhm.
So you kind of feel like the fraud in the room. Like, I've only
Right.
been doing this for X amount of years.
How did I get
and,
in here? Right.
Jim Finnerty's on the board, and he's just a wealth of knowledge and everything. So it's like Jim
Been doing
Finnerty
it
and
since,
John
like,
Green and
1928.
Jim Wallace and
Right. Before the
Mandy and all
NFA.
these people. And it's, what am I doing here?
Mm.
So yeah, I'll just take the notes. It'll be fine.
Mandy was one of the people I interviewed when I was like first doing shows in 2016.
Yeah.
I'm like, who can I get on the show? And I came down here to film a show with Mandy, And
It's a solid choice.
well, absolutely. And she ended up talking about some stuff that she was trying to do with the oh my gosh, with the 4-H, I think, and that fell through, and then something else fell through, and I was still trying to learn how to edit video. So she's like, "Can you just not put the show out?" I'm like, "Okay."
And, doing stuff with the goal board. Met Garet through Mansfield.
Yep.
He was joining the board. And when I joined, they had some, basic podcasting equipment. Like they had some microphones and a little tiny mixer.
Yep.
And I was trying, I work full time. I was traveling in and out of Boston every day, the commuter rail, the subway. So, 2.5 hours each way, you fill it with audiobooks, podcasts.
Yeah.
So I said, why do we have one? Should we have one?
There was one for
And
a
we
while.
did have one, yes. Yeah. It started in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, and but it was one of those things. It started in 2016. They would do one like every week, and then every 2 weeks, and then once a month, and then
once a season,
right, and then once in a while, and then and then it kind of just fell into abeyance after a few episodes.
Yeah, and when you're creating any sort of content that gets published, you just have to keep it. It needs to be consistent. Your release date needs to be the same. Same format, same time release.
Absolutely.
We hold each other accountable too.
Yeah.
We're like, we're recording, right? This is.
So I had talked to him about doing it, and I kind of, it was kind of lukewarm response. I think just because it hadn't taken off before.
Yeah.
Spoken to the folks at the office, you mean?
Yeah. But when Garet joined, we had talked about it and said, we really would like to give this a go. And with both of us on board, the staff at Goal and the rest of the board members said, sure, if you want to try.
Yeah.
Go for it. So we had a bunch of, sit-down meetings, and by that I mean just beers on the back porch.
Beers on the back deck, man.
Figuring out what we want to do, how we want to approach it.
Meetings, yeah. Can I write off beer?
AA meeting, for God's sakes.
Like sending music files back and forth. What do you think about this intro music for that?
Right.
All that stuff.
And then just started doing it, and like anything else, all of a sudden the years start flying by.
Oh my gosh.
And here we are tonight with you. We'll be recording our 100th episode.
Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's 100 is a big episode.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal when you make it that far.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
It's been a really positive experience. I've met people that I would never have met otherwise. Legislators, God help us all, and some folks. Obviously we've had the staff on individually quite a bit.
Yeah.
Jim, John, Mike, everybody's great. They're all just a wealth of
John's the
knowledge.
best.
John's one of those people that you don't even have to edit, right? You just hear, here's your microphone,
Right.
go. You have an hour,
Red
and
lights
then
on.
right, and then he just he produces like just like a machine. Yeah, he just produces outstanding content. You don't even have to edit the guy.
Not at all. Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know if you guys know this. Tom LaRoche used to do the Goal Line. They did a radio show out of Worcester.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
This was the early 2000s. My deal is I became a gun. I got a gun license in 2002. I was a Goal geek. I volunteered time to go to the DCU Center or the Centrum, whatever it was called at the time, for the outdoor show. And I would sit at the Goal booth, and then I would just walk around and look at all the outdoor stuff.
Groupie thing. Nice.
Absolutely.
Right
Absolutely. And then Tom LaRoche was, he wasn't he was the former president at the Worcester Pistol and Rifle Club. And on Thursday nights, he did a 2-hour radio show. And I used to record it on cassette because of my stereo, right? Exactly. I used to record it on cassette.
To play and record at the same time.
The stereo I had a timer on it. And I know my wife, I was giving music lessons, and there was no way I was going to get my wife to remember to hit play or record or anything.
Right.
So I would time the stereo to record it, and I'd put it in a 2-hour cassette tape. So I got the first hour on one side, the second hour on the other side.
Oh, there you go. Get flip the tape over.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So
nice.
Yeah, back in the day, making a mixtape for somebody was like
it was
really
right.
serious.
It was a
gesture.
chore.
Right? It wasn't just dragging and dropping MP3s, man.
No.
It was
It was a lot of work.
I made you a mixtape with a serious,
Right,
serious affair.
It's a commitment.
That's a big output. Yeah.
It totally was. Totally was. Who are some of the favorite people you've had on besides John? Do you guys like when I hear the show and you guys have people?
Yep.
Do you get them to zoom in, or do you have them come down to the?
It really depends.
down to
It
the
depends on
recording studio?
it depends on circumstances.
Yeah.
Everybody that we've had on is great. It just depends on their availability. Like the last episode, we had Ben DeWalt on. He was down in Virginia at the time, so
Right.
Obviously he zoomed in.
There are times we record remotely just between ourselves.
Right, like
Oh, that's cool.
like if I'm sick or he's out of town traveling or
Right.
something like that. But we keep consistent about it.
In person's
very
always
consistent
better.
about it.
It's just it's a more natural way of talking. And
Mhm.
the
Yes.
trick is to get people to forget that there's a microphone there.
Oh my God, absolutely.
Right? Don't you know? Yeah, of course you do.
I do.
And it's like, so if I had to nail down an episode that like felt like a party, honestly, it was probably when Bruin came down. Because like we had Mike Harris in the basement, and it was like a total party. We went through parts of the decision, and of course we're nerding out on the gun law stuff, and
Right.
of course it was a positive thing for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really that was really fun.
That
was
is cool.
fun to do.
That is really cool. Yeah, the Bruin decision was a big thing.
That it was. We're still feeling the ramifications of it, though,
It's-
right?
all of the time.
It's like, okay, the Supreme Court said this, and yeah, we get it, but we're going to do our thing anyway. So like, restrictions will go away, but we're going to double down on suitability. It's like, well, no,
Yeah,
that's
it's
not.
a-
That's
From
not
the
how that
co-office
works.
perspective, it was a great win. It felt great.
Yeah.
But, we knew that this is more of a start than an end.
That's right.
Oh my gosh,
That's
yeah.
exactly right.
So
This
now
was-
we're going to see the next bag of tricks that comes out, and have to you just constantly have to pivot and adjust and
Yep. And the
stay
situation,
flexible.
situation here in Massachusetts, man, the way it is right now.
Yeah, I think our motto needs to be Massachusetts. At least we're not New Jersey.
Well, so
That's a low bar. It's sad though, New Jersey. Just the top part of New Jersey. The rest of the
Right?
state's beautiful.
Right.
Yeah, because it's all farmland and
Yeah.
but just the tip,
The part where New York dumps its trash is
It's New Jersey.
it's bad for the
That's
rest
the
of
New
the state.
Jersey.
What's
yeah.
that smell? That's New Jersey.
But up here, like we know the gun law listening tours have just ended. Those have
Yes.
been going on through the spring, and we're gonna have to wait and see what the fallout of that stuff is. It makes me nervous because of the situation here in the state right now. I mean, so I'm not speaking on authority. I'm not on the inside of this stuff. I don't know.
Right.
I just only have my opinion. But
Yeah.
Massachusetts has always been the blue state, right?
Mhm.
We voted for the presidential elections. We voted for Eisenhower and Reagan, I think. And then other than that, it's been blue since, Moses was around.
Wasn't
Yeah. And
wasn't Massachusetts the only state to vote for Dukakis?
I think so, yeah. I think so, yeah. But they were, even Massachusetts wouldn't elect Mondale. So, so it was. So right now in Massachusetts, we are like as blue as we've ever been, and it's like, again, I'm more libertarian. I'm not like Republican Democrat thing. I work on a different axis, but what bothers me the most about the situation is the lack of any meaningful opposition. Right. The way that the legislature and everything's set up right now. So other than like during the Deval Patrick years,
Yeah.
we've always had a Democratic legislature, but we've tended to elect Republican governors historically. Republican, yeah, right. Not that means a whole lot, because
Right.
like John Green says, some of the most nastiest gun laws have been signed in the state have been signed into law by Republican governors.
Right.
But at least it's been some kind of
Yeah.
right.
At least
But
they
at
had
least
to
it's been
pretend
kind of
to-
some sort of performative opposition. Right now, the way that things are, it's like all 6 constitutional officers are Democrats. Governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, etc. in the legislature, we have the Republicans have 3 senators out of 40.
Man.
In the House, it's 25 out of 160.
Oh my gosh.
And even like down ballot, there's like 9 out of the 10 district attorneys and the county sheriffs and so forth. It's like it's like there is nobody who has any sort of a pull and say, wait a minute, you can't like do that. So I'll put it this way: when the leader in the Massachusetts House can go to the Boston Globe and say, we just passed a $57.5 billion budget in 3 days with no debate, and it was the easiest budget that I've ever been involved in. Like, I'm going, that's actually not a good thing.
Right.
That's not a good thing. There's nobody saying, hey, let's pump the brakes on some of this
It's not
stuff.
really something to brag about.
Right.
Yeah.
So, how does that relate to like the gun law listening tour and the so-called top-down review of the gun laws right now? I don't know. I don't have tea leaves, but I'll steal a line from my friend over here and say I don't think that they're doing a top-down listening tour in order to make life easier on us. So
agreed.
So how is this going to come out? I don't know, but
agreed.
I guess we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, I went to 8 of them.
Yep.
And
that's a pretty good record. I went to a few of them.
Not bad for a white boys. I went to 8 of them.
Just past VJ's, there's going to be a driveway going up.
Okay. And they it really felt like a sham.
Yeah, past. Okay, right into the parking area up there. Whoa, hey.
This is why I have the dash cam.
Right. Yeah.
So, all right. So we had this woman from Rhode Island flip us the bird.
Right. After jumping out in front of you.
Right here?
Yeah, right here.
All right. Yeah.
So that was fun. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
She can't even call her a masshole. She just like jumped out and and then flipped you the bird for daring to be offended by that. So the place we're doing is right there.
That is ridiculous.
But yeah, the gun law listening tour stuff, I don't know if it felt like, I don't know. Did it feel like good faith to anybody? No. It didn't really feel like good faith to me.
It did not feel like good anything.
Yeah.
All right. We shall be back. We're going to go grab a bite, and we're going to put Jeff in the front seat.
Margarita. Just
Charlie's the designated driver.
And a mucho cerveza. And we'll be back.
Right on. We'll be back.
All right, we are back. We just had some Mexican food. We got our picture with the selfie with the Mexican band.
Mariachi.
Yes, at least they got a gig. That's how I see it.
You guys and your social media phones.
I know, we're little social media whores. Anyway, we have Jeff in the front seat now.
Yep.
Grant. Garrett's in the back. I know, she's right. Just don't late for supper. All right, so, yeah, what else do we miss about you? You grew up, how did you get into shooting?
So, yeah, really for me, it was just, I just wanted to try it out and signed up for the licensing class.
Yep.
Shot, and I was like, well, this was fun. So I want to do this more.
Absolutely.
So I just kind of kept going after it, and I bought my first gun, and then I thought, well, I'll take a concealed carry course because it was offered at the place I took my license class.
Yep.
And yeah, that was just the thing that hooked me in, is realizing, oh, there's a whole world to this that you're just not aware of right out of the gate. So
yeah,
I just started jumping into training classes and got into it more and more, and just stuck with it. And now doing the work with Goal, it's really amazing what I have found myself to have access to, and the people, and you know, and not that I would ever message the guy, but it's like I can just text Rob Pincus, hey, what do you think about this, and then get ready for the answer. Right.
Get ready
but you know, it's you know, like John Green's a hunting buddy. If I have a law question, I have the guy to ask.
Exactly.
It's the guy that teaches law to the law enforcement people.
Right. So it's really just been a blessing, just kind of following, just kind of going forward with it.
It really is good stuff. Like, I remember the first time I went shooting, I didn't grow up as a gun guy. I wasn't interested in hunting, wasn't interested in shooting, and we took the class to get our licenses when I was married and had my son. And then when my first ex-wife, so I affectionately call her, when she was pregnant with our daughter, I took the basic pistol class with John. I did it through Gold.
Yep.
This was 2002, and
I was in high school in 2002.
thanks, man. Thanks. Because if the gray hair doesn't make me feel old.
Franklin High School, class of 03.
I was
Oh my
something
God.
Birmingham farm when Jeff was 2.
Jeez, man. Jeez. I was almost done playing in a band in 2002.
Well, that's the hard part. So coming into the advocacy side of things is I mean, I'm 37. I'll be 38 this year. I mean, that's kind of younger.
Yeah.
Put quotes around it. So I go home and it's like I got to get up and stretch in the morning just for maintenance. So I don't feel young, but then you go in and it's like I'm the young guy in the group, right? It's like, these people have been doing things since before I even was a thought in anyone's head.
Yeah, totally.
So
So yeah, I took the basics of pistol, and we did the shooting portion at the Worcester Pistol and Rifle Club. I got to shoot the 6.17, the 22 revolver with 10 shots, and I was like, the first couple shots, I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever.
this is awesome.
Like, I think I could quit drinking for this. I mean, not for a long time, but for a while.
At least
for
the weekend.
At least
Right.
wait till after.
Yeah, right.
Right, like, I could find something else to put my time and energy into. for
That
sure.
watching people like light up.
Oh my
yeah,
God, it's the
why I
best.
do the teaching stuff. You know, it's awesome to see people.
Yeah, my only criticism of the whole thing was so when we went to the shooting portion of the class,
Mhm.
it was all the really old like Ruger, Mark 1s and Mark 2s.
Oh my gosh, right.
So it just had that, in my head, I'm thinking like
These are guns.
the tactical cool pistols and all that
Yep.
stuff. And they break that out. It's like, oh man, this really
This-
isn't the
this
cool
is
gun I
not
thought it
what
was,
I
even
thought.
though it was such a cool experience.
Right.
So now it's like when I do classes with Garet or whoever else, I always try to bring the coolest guns in my safe and say, hey, yeah, here's the 22 trainers and everything, but let me show you some cool stuff. Like, here's the pistol that I carry. Here's the
Right.
gun that's by my bedside. Here's my shotgun that I put a whole bunch of money into. And yeah, it's just been a blast. People love the shotgun.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
slowly
shotgun.
trying to rebuild its, the larger love. I feel like they got a bad name for a while.
Yeah.
Ever since Fearless Leader said, just buy a shotgun and fire 2 blasts in the air. I mean, great for the shotgun geeks because then they became uncool and they became affordable.
Right.
But now, they're slowly getting their way back. Beretta's in the game, making phenomenal shotguns.
Yeah.
Mossberg's making great semi-autos.
Mm.
So yeah, just what did Ben call it? The gospel of the gauge.
The gospel of the gauge.
The gospel of the gauge. Nice.
The Legion of Boom. But yeah,
It's good stuff. I didn't. That was a couple years ago. First time I went and did sporting clays, and I was like, "This is really cool." Like every station was different. There's a couple different clays coming from a couple different areas every time, and then you go to a different station, and it's a new one, and it's a different one. That was a lot of fun.
yeah, you gotta have fun shooting. That's what keeps people coming back. Is
Oh,
you gotta
yeah,
build fun
absolutely.
into it.
There's so many different things that you can do though. It's like the square range at however many feet that it is, like that is such a small part of it.
And the self-defense world takes up so much of the gun conversation.
Yeah.
I think sometimes the other stuff gets kind of
Yeah, it's kind
Because
of on the
of
wayside.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
for sure. Oh yeah, and then the politics about it as well.
Exactly.
It's shooting's just good, clean fun, man. It is good, clean fun. It's always interesting to me when you talk to people that are new gun folks. They're taking their licensing course, and they're like, "Well, what about self-defense? What if somebody breaks in my house?" I'm like, "Let's not worry about that now. Let's just, let's just learn how to load and unload.
Right
We'll
now
talk
we're going
about
to focus on safety. Then you're going to come back for another class, and you're going
Right.
to do carry class.
exactly.
Yeah, there's just there's a lot to consider. The question you get is can I shoot if, and leaning now more towards that's really not the question you should be asking. There's the
Right.
can I shoot, should I shoot, do I have to shoot, and that's where start trying to push people towards that third question is do I have to,
Right.
and sometimes you get that you see the aha moment of maybe I need to think about this a little bit more.
Oh my God, how many times have somebody somebody asked a question like this and you don't want to okay, you don't want to not answer the question.
Use
You're
your
taking
turn
it
signal,
right.
Charlie.
Yeah, sure.
He's not
Yes.
from
Yeah,
Massachusetts.
you're not from around here, are you?
I try to use it.
How dare you?
I know, right? yeah, when people start asking those kind of questions, you're like, you know what? I'm not an attorney and I don't play one on YouTube, but you got to be careful about this. Well, you mean to tell me if somebody breaks in my house, I can't shoot them? And no, not really.
This is Massachusetts.
Right.
Yeah, I just think there's a huge difference between can I shoot, should I shoot, do I have to shoot?
Right.
Yeah, there are plenty of circumstances where you say, well, can I? Oh, yeah. But should you? Do you have to? Maybe.
Right.
And if you get to the end and you say, do I have to? Well, then the other questions kind of fall by the wayside. If you have to, you have to.
Yeah.
But still, trying to bring it back to having a little fun. We did the Armed Women of America, their meeting this a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were launching soda cans into the air and having them blast them out of the sky with a shotgun.
Carrie Ann was telling me this. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
That's a pretty cool tool.
Oh, one lady. So she tried 4 or 5 times and really, a little high, a little low.
Yeah.
Trying to piece it together. And she wanted to go one more time. And we had 1 soda can left. Okay, it's like last stand. No pressure. Everybody's watching. Here we go.
Let me hold the camera sideways.
She hit that thing so square.
Wow.
You know when you see a clay truly get dusted? It was just like that, and people started cheering and clapping. And it was
Nice.
That's awesome. The fun is, I think, what keeps people coming back and starts building those.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah. I've talked to some people about bowling pin shoots, and they're like, "What's a bowling pin shoot?" And I'm like,
it's exactly what it sounds
bowling
like.
pins? It's not very high tech here.
Like
It's not a euphemism for anything.
You think it is, and it's
Right.
more fun than you think it would be.
Oh my gosh. I became a range safety officer a long time ago just because I wanted to run the bowling pin shoots to get out of the house once a day.
Once a day.
Once a day. Once a month.
Bowling pin shoots.
It's a lot. Just to get out of the house once a month to go hang out and hang out and play guns.
That's cool.
And it was a lot of fun. It started off with I have Jeff Cooper's complete book of modern handgunning, which is 70 years old by now.
Wow.
Yes, and I found a copy at the Fitchburg Library, and I would check it out like once a year until someone permanently checked it out. Or I don't know if somebody sold it or it wasn't me. I was pissed. So I ended up finding a copy of it.
I should have kept it.
I know. I did that math. I'm like, I can go check it out. How much is it going to cost me on bookfinder.com?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how much am I going to buy one for, and how much would the library charge me?
The library would probably be happy to get rid of it.
Probably. Oh, here's a book.
Nowadays, for sure.
So anyway, so he had this thing called the Thinking Man shoot, and what he had was 2 balloons, and he would make some sort of a sound, and the sound determined on whether I shot the top balloon, the bottom balloon, or both balloons, which was pretty cool.
Okay.
And it really,
Sound input.
yes,
Sound stimulus.
because it was, and I did the whole thing being a band teacher. I'm like, well, if we blow a whistle, it's going to be this. If I hit the cowbell, it's going to be this. If I hit something else, it's, the ooga, right? Like, I hit both of them.
What do you call that?
So the ooga, right?
Yeah.
Ooga.
It's the outlook.
It's the name of it. So so that's what I used to do, and it was, IDPA and IPSC was the thing, but it just made people think a second before they had to start shooting something.
Well, and that's got some historical accuracy too, because back in at the nation's founding and with the history of the area, they used drummers and musicians to signal people of what to do and where what was happening.
Right?
So it's not unheard of.
It's not unheard of.
Unheard of, get it? Unheard of. Oh my God.
I'll be here all week. Don't forget to tip your bartenders and waitresses.
It's a great blessing though in this part of the country, because anti-gun as it is and can be. The history is amazing.
Yeah.
I work in Lexington. I hunt on a farm in Concord.
That's
And
cool.
you're sitting on a stone wall, and it's like, how long has this thing been here, and what may or may not have happened in these fields, and
Actually find lead balls in those fields.
That's wild. I did the God, what did we do last year? Oh, the
Ladies event?
no,
Or
Appleseed.
Project
Appleseed.
Appleseed.
right on.
Yes, I did the Appleseed project, and they have rifleman, sharpshooter, and marksman. Marksman, sharpshooter, and rifleman.
Riflemen's their top.
Yes. So I qualified as an Englishman.
You are British regular.
If I was around in the Revolutionary War time, we would be drinking warm beer, driving on the left side of the road, and all have bad teeth. So, yeah.
No, it's an amazing course. So I've done that shoots. Dollar for dollar, best marksmanship training I think you can find.
Oh my gosh, absolutely, absolutely. I had to. I used a 1522 that I have, and I legit struggled with the sling. I shot better without the sling than with the sling. And
Really?
the sling I had was not. It was.
It's got to be the right kind.
Yeah, it was not the right
Yeah.
kind. It was not.
Yeah, the tactical 1-point sling doesn't help too much.
No, mine was. Mine was from your uncle, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah.
Right. It was one of my uncles.
Right at the light.
Right at the light. All right. And yeah, it wasn't a good sling, and I. Yeah, it was not good.
Anyway. It's a tough class. Like that shooting test is no
It's
joke.
No joke.
It's a challenge.
It is. You got like what, 20 minutes to do it?
It's 4 minutes per round.
If they do the whole thing all together, they call it like the fast and dirty version.
Yeah.
It's 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, you're shooting 4 stages, and it's you got to remember not just all the steps and being accurate, but you got to remember the course of fire. So if you mess up, anywhere on that target, they take your highest scoring round and use that round. Like if you shot an extra round on one side,
Right.
you lose your best scoring round.
And you have to know, like, it's not, the course of fire is not like, 4 shots in a circle. It's, you're going to go 3, 2, 2, 3.
Oh, yeah.
You actually got to remember that
Yes.
in the moment.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That rifle is one of I appreciate the most. I didn't pack my first time.
Yeah.
The second time I was like, dang, I'm really proud of it. Because I had to work for this one.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Then you got to do the winter season. So you got to wait till it's February or
Freezing.
below freezing. And if
It's not bad enough.
if it's below freezing, you have a whole separate special patch.
Wow.
It's not available online. You have to either do it at the time.
That's wild. That's cool. All right, so tell us more about the Go podcast. Who has the job of doing all the editing and whatnot?
That's me.
He is magic.
It is.
Take a right into life.
Yeah,
All right.
That's me. So, division of labor, it's pretty fair. Jeff does a lot of the research.
Yeah,
I do
you
research.
said
We both do
the
writing.
training segments that you do.
Yep, the training stuff. He does a lot of like coordinating interviewees and stuff like that. He tends to be the general point of contact for stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I run kind of the technical side of it. We both do a lot of research. We both do a lot of writing. But yeah, it's pretty fair. The editing take what editing's like. It can take a long time depending on the situation. But it's what the hell, it's a labor of love. It's
Depends on the show, the guest, and the time.
Sure.
Yeah, we've had some guests where you gotta take a long time to really work it through, and
Yeah.
other ones go real smooth. But
honestly, the politicians are the worst. Because honestly, they feel like they're in front of a microphone live talking with constituents.
Right.
Where we're like, no, dude, it's okay. If you didn't mean to say that, just back up
Right.
and say it again the right way. You don't have to prevaricate and try to dance around it. It's tough to edit.
It is a little bit. I used to tell people that when I started editing video, I felt like a terrorist because I just want to get everything together. Like I want to get the video together and the audio together, and that's it. I'm not worried about anything else. All I need to know is how to find it.
but generally, how we work it out is leading up to a show, we'll use like Dropbox and create a Word document and add news stories in or clip out quotes that we think might go for the show and kind of block out where we want to go for the episode.
Gotcha.
And then,
All right.
and then we get together, once every couple of weeks, do all the recording. Garet does a rough edit.
Yeah.
And sends me a copy, and we listen to it and say, all right, do we want to tweak this? However we want to work it out.
Yeah.
And then when we're both like, okay, we're good to go, then it's scheduled for release, and off it goes.
Rock and roll. Cool. All right. So this is where you get to plug all your stuff.
I don't have social media. I don't have Facebook, Instagram. I do the Goal podcast. That's really about it.
Freaking troglodyte. Holy
My
moly.
God, yeah, this guy's he's a Luddite. Yep. So go to goal.org, find us, find the podcast through gold.org. And while you're there, join Gold. Since you're going to be
35 bucks?
it's like
$35 for a individual 1-year membership. You can do auto renew, so it doesn't have to. You don't have to remember to keep signing up for it.
Gotcha.
And we have finally gained stature in Google, so if you search the Gold Podcast, we will be finally the
Excellent.
number one spot. So it's number one search result.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very exciting.
There's a Facebook page. There's an Instagram.
There is.
There are both.
Yeah, both.
Yep.
Okay, because I know Gold has both of those as well, which I will also include in the links
Right on.
in the show description. So that's where they tell everybody.
No, so like I'm terrible at that stuff, and so it's so bizarre that I ended up doing a podcast.
It's the glamorous life.
The whole book. I mean, the point of the show is just to have another, just more Second Amendment content out there. People talk. It's okay to talk about. So we always just treat it as like just two guys that talk, range conversation, and we just happen to do it on tape. So
That's cool.
yeah, so I have a full-time job, and I do all the other stuff. I just record some nonsense every once in a while and try not to say anything too ridiculous.
That's awesome. Nothing wrong with that, man. Nothing wrong with that. All right, so anything else? We got it all? We'll put the links to.
We got it.
Very cool. All right, so we thank you guys for watching this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. We have Jeff Strider from the Gold Podcast, and Garet Holcomb is in the back seat this time.
We're gonna need a shoehorn to get out of here.
I think. Well, thank God it's raining out. Should be pretty easy. Yeah. Anyway, so thank you guys for watching the show. If you have not joined the Second Amendment Foundation, you can do that at saf.org. For $150, you get a lifetime membership. There's a link below here where they give me riding shotgun credit at SAF, which if you did it through that would be really cool. You can find all of your favorite pro-freedom podcasts at sdrn.us. That's the Self-Defense Radio Network. And obviously, if you made it this far, you need to share this with your people. This is how we get the stagecoach across America. Gents, thank you very much. We'll do it again.
Thanks, Charlie. Let's go get you on the podcast now.
Easy peasy. Boom. Boom. Ah.